So I did this teaching called What is Fasting According to the Bible, where I break down, what the Bible actually says about fasting. What is it not? This teaching is broken up into three parts, so this is part number one. Hope you enjoy. Shalom. This video is brought to you by Bellamy Transport. If you're in and around Dar es Salaam, think about giving us a call. Now back to the video. Just so you know, early, and then we're gonna have some people talk at the end, so to give us some tips, how to fast, because I believe this is a very important topic, and it's one of the foundational points, that we have to get as a people, you know. So we'll just go ahead and get started. Are you ready, Madeline?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So we'll start out with James chapter 1, read verse 5, Madeline.
James 1 and 5. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of Yahuah, that gives to all men liberally and upbraids not, and it shall be given him.
Yeah, and so the debate basically, hey, everything that I say today, take it to Abba. Take it to Abba. Any message that any message that I bring forth, Jason brings forth, any of the other brothers bring forth, or whoever's leading, you know, take it to Abba because he has all answers. He doesn't give me everything, he doesn't give them everything. He gives us a portion, and it's on us to deliver that portion. However, if we are confused about something, yeah, we can talk about it, but ultimately, we need to go to Abba. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about, what is fasting? You know, what is it? This is a mystery to some, but, the world says we can fast any type of way, but our concern is what is fasting according to the Bible? You know, we see in scripture where people fast and it moves Abba. So there's a way that we're supposed to fast according to the Bible. There's other things you can do, whatever that are good for your health. But today we're just talking about fasting, according to the Bible. All right. So what is it? Will you read that, Madeline?
So, what is it? Biblical fasting is a spiritual practice of abstaining from food and drink for a set period of time to seek the Most High through prayer. It's a way to humble oneself before the Most High, strengthen faith, and connect with the Yahuah in a posture of surrender.
It's a
It's a
vow.
vow.
It's a vow. It's a promise. If I tell Abba I'm gonna do something, hey, by all means, you need to do it. You need to do it. But I will say that there are some situations where you can't and you can be released from it, but that's in Numbers 30, and I don't have time to go there because we have so much today. But there are times when you can be released from it, but excuse me. But for the most part, if you say you're gonna do it, do it. Do it. All right, let's read Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 4 and 5, please.
Verse 4. When you vow a vow unto Yahuah, defer not to pay it, for he has no pleasure in fools. Pay that which you have vowed. Better is it that you should not vow than that you should vow and not pay. Suffer not your mouth to cause your flesh to sin, neither say ye before the angels. It's a block down here, I
Yeah,
can't see
I
the
moved it.
words. That it was an error. Wherefore should Yahuah be angry at your voice and destroy the works of your hands?
All right, so like I said, if you say you're gonna do it, because I was holding us to it. He's not like us. He says something, he does it. We say something, he expects us to do it. All right, so today we're gonna discuss, what is fasting according to the Bible. We're going to discuss that Daniel fast that a lot of people try to do. Can you eat on a fast? We're going to discuss that. Natural benefits of fasting, spiritual benefits of fasting, and what does your fast life say about you? What does your fast life say about you? All right. So according to what is fasting according to excuse me, the Bible. Let's read 2 Samuel 12, verse 15 through 20.
Verse 15. And Nathan departed into his house, and Yahuah struck the child that Uriyahu's woman bore unto David, and it was very sick. David therefore besought Yahuah for the child, and David fasted and went in and lay all night upon the earth. And the elders of his house arose and went to him to raise him up from the earth, but he would not, neither did he eat bread with them. And it came to pass on the seventh day that the child died. And the servants of David feared to tell him that the child was dead. For they said, Behold, while the child was yet alive, we spoke unto him, and he would not hearken unto our voice. How will he then vex himself if we tell him that the child is dead? But when David saw that the servants whispered, David perceived that the child was dead. Therefore David said unto his servants, Is the child dead? And they said, He is dead. Then David arose from the earth and washed and anointed himself and changed his apparel and came into the house of Yahuah and worshiped. Then he came to his own home or house, and when he required, they set bread before him, and he did eat.
Key point. When the fast was over, that's when he ate. Once it was over, he ate. But during the 7 days before Abba, there was no eating, there was no drinking. This is our example of how a fast should be conducted. And another thing, just a side note, David didn't get what he wanted, but he didn't charge Abba. So whether Abba gives us what we want or whether he doesn't, praise Abba. Our praises shouldn't be contingent on, if I get what I want. He's not a sugar daddy. I was thinking how, I found no scriptures in the Bible that says that we can eat on a fast. I've found none. There's only one type of fast, and we'll call it a dry fast. It's a dry fast. It's just a fast. Because there's only one way that Abba, only one type of fast that he accepts, and that's no food, and that's no water, and that's all that he accepts. And here's a question I have for you: How far? Think about David. Think about David, and his child was sick. How far are you willing to go to get your deliverance? How far are you willing to go? A lot of us, we like to short arm Abba. You short on them, short arm them. Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it, Abba. You know, I'll fast from things I enjoy, like social media, phone. I'll do a liquid fast. I'll do a partial fast. I'll fast from certain foods. But are we really reaching out, you know, to Abba? Are we fully extending ourselves to get the deliverance that we that we want? Excuse me. Are we doing that? Can we do more? Can we do more? Or is only fasting from TV, is that all I can do? My child is sick. Or I need more information. I need to be able to understand these scriptures better. Can I do more? Will I do more? We can do more than what we think. But we need to have a greater concern on getting things done. A greater concern of what Abba wants. We need to be dependent on him totally and not short arm the Father. He's not going to short arm us. All right, so we're going to look at two examples in Ezra. First one, Second Ezra chapter 2, verses, I'll say, Second Ezra chapter 5, verse 16 through 22.
Second Ezra 5:16 through 22. And in the second night it came to pass that Shealtiel, the captain of the people, came unto me, saying, Where have you been? And why is your countenance so heavy? Know ye not that Yasharal is committed unto you in their land of their captivity? Up then and eat bread, and forsake us not, as the shepherd that leaves his flock in the hands of cruel wolves. Then said I unto him, Go your ways from me, and come not nigh me. And he heard what I said, and went from me. And so I fasted 7 days, mourning and weeping, like as Uriyahu the angel commanded me. And after 7 days, so it was that the thoughts of my heart were very grievous unto me again, and my soul recovered the Ruach by now, and I began to talk with the Most High again.
Mhm. So you look at that. Why was Ezra so harsh? He said, "Up, get away from me," and said, "And come not nigh to me." Why did he do that? Why did he do that? Because our fasting is a personal thing, and people will get us off of our desire to seek the Father. Ezra knew that he couldn't eat on the fast. He knew he couldn't eat bread. He knew he couldn't do that. But people will, people will try to encourage you to do so. And that Ruach Benai, that is understanding and discernment. And so he had understanding and discernment of what was going on. This fast is a personal thing, but you must be determined to get it done. It's gonna be on you. I can't look at my brother. I can't look at Duhart and say, hey Duhart, whatever. He can help, encourage, but in order for me to get the fast done, it's gonna be something I have to determine in my heart. You're gonna have to determine this thing in your heart. Why? Why is that? Because people are gonna try to get you to eat. Every time my Mexican friend at work uh cooks tacos and brings them, I'm fasting. I love tacos. The other week I was fasting. I saw him unpacking them. I was like, oh man, here we go. I had to tell him no, but I love him though. When I used to work in the hospital, every time I used to fast, that was a surprise potlucks. I was like, man, y'all got all this, all this. Why is that? But the thing is, you have to determine yourself. And if you start fasting, I don't know who's fasting and who's not, you're gonna face the same thing. The stuff you used to pay for now is free. Now it's free. You go here, oh hey man, you want this free such and such? It's like, man, I love that. But we have to determine that in our heart that we're not gonna break that fast because people, and not knowingly, but people will be used to get us to break our fast. So it's a personal decision, and we have to be determined to do so. All right, let's move forward. Second Ezra chapter 9, verse 21 through 28.
Second Ezra 9:21 through 28. And I saw and spared it greatly, and have kept me a grape of the cluster, and a plant of a great people. Let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain, and let my grape be kept, and my plant, for with great labor have I made it perfect. Nevertheless, if you will cease yet 7 days more, but you shall not fast in them, but go into a field of flowers where no house is built, and eat only the flowers of the field, taste no flesh, drink no wine, but eat flowers only, and pray unto the Most High continually, then will I come and talk with you. So I went my way into the field which was called Ardoth, like as he commanded me, and there I sat among the flowers, and did eat the herbs of the field, and the meat of the same satisfied me. After 7 days I sat upon the grass, and my heart was vexed within me, like as before. And I opened my mouth and began to talk before the Most High, and said,
Okay, so stopping right there. He said, you shall not fast in them. And that's why he was able to eat flowers, herbs. So if he wouldn't have ate the herbs, just like earlier, when he didn't eat anything, it would have been a fast. But this time he was told, you shall eat only herbs. You shall eat only herbs. And so there's no way we can say that we can eat on a fast. As far as I'll say I found no scriptures that say that. Because if you think about he's eating herbs, that shouldn't be that big of a deal. That shouldn't be that big of a deal. But since he was eating the herbs, they couldn't call it a fast. They couldn't call it a fast. Now let's talk about this Daniel fast. All right, look here. Look at Daniel. All right, so we're gonna go to Daniel chapter 1, read verses 8 through 16.
Verse 8. But Daniel proposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Now Yahuah had brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs. And the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear my Adonai the king, who has appointed your meat and your drink. For why should he see your faces worse liking than the children which are of your sort? Then shall ye make me endanger my head to the king. Then said Daniel to Meltzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Sheniyahu, Mishael, and Azariahu, prove your servants. I beseech ye 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat and water to drink. Then let our countenances be looked upon before you, and the countenance of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat, and as you see, deal with your servants. So he consented to them in this matter and proved them 10 days. And at the end of 10 days, their countenances appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat of the portion of the king's meat. Thus Meltzar took away the portion of their meat and the wine that they should drink and give them pulse.
All right. So we're going to talk about this. And so it said, eat pulse and drink water. And I'm just add this. Some you may want to think about, why didn't Daniel drink the wine? Which we'll talk about the meat here in a second. Well, there's some extra biblical texts that suggest that we're not even supposed to be drinking alcohol. The wine in the Bible was unfermented. But that's something that, hey, ask Abba if you want to know. Some people like, oh, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. But there's information out there that says that we're not even supposed to be drinking. And now that you know that, look into that. Okay, so let's break this down. Okay, there's no indication that Daniel ever ate meat. You know, there's no indication that the king's meat was unclean, such as duck or swine. There's no indication of that. Verse 8 says, But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested the princes of the eunuch that he might not defile himself. This has nothing to do with a fast. This has to do with being defiled. This has to do with being defiled. my Dr. Umar, this has to do with being defiled. Daniel was adhering to the law Abba gave in Genesis 1:29. And Yahuah said, excuse me, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree which is the fruit of the yielding seed. To you it shall be as food. To you it shall be as food. To you I'm gonna stop. To us it's gonna be as food. Now think about this. It was after 10 days in verse 6. This is after the so-called fast or whatever happened. And verse 16 says, thus Belshazzar took away the portions of their meat. Let me move that thing. This says he took away the portions of their meat and wine that they should drink and gave them pulse, which is vegetables. Now, if it's after 10 days, he took the meat away. Okay, this indicates that they never ate meat. Or they didn't eat if they ate, well, they didn't eat it before, but he took it away, so they didn't have meat to eat at this point. So there's no way that this Daniel's fast can be I can just eat vegetables. No, Daniel didn't eat meat. Daniel was just going by what the scriptures say in Genesis 1:29. So moving forward.